Hey audio nerds, and welcome back to the channel. Rather unbelievably, as I make this video, we've just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane for a little hobby channel I started in the middle of lockdown way back in the depths of last winter. So thank you all of you who've stuck with me and watched my videos and continue to interact with me, both here and on the Discord server. It's been an absolute hoot, and I hope you'll stick with me going forward. So today's video then, let's talk about Crinacle. Crinacle is a name that will be familiar to many of you, particularly those of you who are into Iems. He is, of course, the remarkable chap who runs the in-ear Fidelity website, and on that website, which I'd advise you to go and check out, he's tested and ranked over 1,000 Iems and headphones, which is truly staggering. He's also a well-known audio YouTuber, and I love his content. He's really geeky, but also really amusing and surprisingly rude, just like all the best people on YouTube. Basically, I've been a fan of Crinacle for ages, and I always take note of his IEM recommendations. So I was definitely intrigued when he waxed lyrical about a new IEM from a chi-fi company called 7Hertz. And this IEM was called the Timeless. Now, he has given the Timeless an A rating, which is high praise indeed, because he's definitely not one of these reviewers who rates everything 5 stars. So, on the strength of his recommendation, I bought a set of the Timeless myself for my own money. They weren't sent to me for review, and I've been listening to them extensively for the past few weeks. So it's time to find out whether these things really are worth all the hype they've generated. And of course, it's also a great excuse for another clickbaity video title. Let's find out if we can trust Crinacle. So, I appreciate I'm a little bit late to the 7Hertz Timeless hype party, as these came out late last year. But hey, they're definitely worthy of a video review, so better late than never. The 7Hertz Timeless is of course a different type of IEM containing a planar magnetic driver rather than dynamic drivers or balanced armature drivers like the thousands of other IEMs that are out there. And that straight away makes them interesting. Remember, planar magnetic drivers, albeit much larger ones, are found in full-size cans from the likes of Audeze and Hi-Fi Man, and you all know how much I love the Hi-Fi Man Sundaras just sat behind me there. So there have been a few other planar magnetic IEMs, but the 7Hertz Timeless are the first ones I've heard. So here's an executive summary, just in case on the off chance you can't be bothered to watch the video. I think that with the Timeless, 7Hertz really have pulled off something unique and special, particularly considering the price point. And let's talk about that price first. These cost around $220 or £190 here in the UK, which puts them squarely in mid-fi territory. Remember, £190 is of course a lot for some people to lay down on earphones, but compare them to the list price of AirPod Pros at £259 and the price of the new Sony WH-1000 XM5s at £380, and it doesn't seem quite so bad in comparison. Quite simply though, if it is sound quality that you're after, rather than convenience or anything else, the 7Hertz Timeless blow away any Bluetooth true wireless or over-ear cans. They are so good in fact that they are competing strongly with the Shure SE846 that I've been listening to for years as my main out and about IEMs. And remember, those bad boys from Shure cost £700 back in the day. Now, there are several reasons to my mind that they sound so good. If we look at the frequency response curve first, you'll see that there's definitely a bass uplift, particularly in the sub-bass region, and a lively treble, along with a slightly recessed lower mid-range. Now, there are some reports, if you trawl the internet, of measured discrepancies between the left and right audio channels, particularly in the treble frequencies, but I haven't noticed any audible channel imbalance in my experience. I love the bass on the Timeless. It's rich, deep and well extended, but is in no way overpowering. Load Up, for example, Massive Attack's Karma Coma, and I was immediately struck by the speed and impact of the bass, but it's also exquisitely textured and extremely well controlled. Now, the mid-range of the Timeless sounds very natural compared to the mid-range of the Moondrop Starfield, which are my favourite £100 IEMs. The Timeless goes to the next level in terms of the detail and timbre. acoustic music sounds particularly lush. Kristen Hirsch's solo debut album, Hips and Makers, is a good demonstration of how well the Timeless delivers mids. The first track on that album, Your Ghost, features a gorgeous vocal harmony between Kristen and Michael Stipe of REM. The Timeless allows you to hear the fine details of both Hirsch and Stipe's vocal lines, and the way the harmony intertwines and the delicate acoustic picking and strumming, it all sounds just so wonderful and lush, just sharp enough with the right amount of space around the strings. Listen to busier tracks such as the superlative Motherboard from Daft Punk's Random Access Memories. I know that's a favourite test track for many audio reviewers. It really is a great track, by the way. If you haven't heard it, check it out. And the Timeless seems to maintain control over all the instruments, giving each one its own distinct space in the mix. Now, if there is a criticism, it's with the treble, which is just on the edge of being a little too sharp. But for me, it doesn't cross the line into being fatiguing, although with some poor quality recordings, it can come across as occasionally sibilant. There is plenty of zing to the cymbals and hi-hats, but they sound smooth. So even a treble-heavy track such as Live Forever, very trebly mixed that one, from the Definitely Maybe album. So the treble on that track does sound very well controlled with plenty of detail. And if you're one of those people who loves noticing new sounds and nuances in familiar recordings, you'll be impressed, I think, by the detail retrieval that the Timeless provide. Now, if you're a little bit treble sensitive, which you may be, particularly you youngsters with better hearing than me, you might, I guess, find the treble a tad overpowering. But I think most people are going to find the treble lively but absolutely fine. Let's talk about imaging. Imaging on these is really good as far as Iems go, and the soundstage is pretty decently wide, although it doesn't have a huge amount of depth. Now, I've never heard an amazing soundstage on Iems. Now, these do sound more spacious, for example, than the SE846, which sound really kind of closed in and a little bit boxy in comparison. So for all those reasons, I do believe that man Crinacle when he says that these easily compete with much more expensive Iems. Aside from the sound, all the other features are on point too. These are a super comfortable pair of Iems. They have a big circular aluminium shell and a short nozzle, which means that they don't really intrude too deeply into your ear canal. They stay in my ears pretty well when I'm walking around, and they cause no pressure, even after several hours of dedicated listening. Now, the only drawback of this slightly shallower fit is that these have less passive noise isolation than something like the Shure SE846, particularly with the foam tips, as those sit deeper into the ear canal and seal more securely. Now, you do get lots of tips provided in the box, but no foamies, they're all silicone tips. I've found the build quality of the shells to be pretty high, and they are surprisingly light at, I think, just less than 5 grams each, which probably does contribute to the comfort when you're wearing them. Let's talk about the cable, and I have to say it's of really good quality. It's fairly tangle proof, it looks clean, and it doesn't seem to suffer from those annoying microphonics. The Timeless utilises an MMCX connection, so you can easily swap the cable out for another one if you need a balanced cable, for example. I opted for the single-ended 3.5mm jack connection. They can also be driven very easily from a smartphone output if your phone still has one of those, or something like the Apple dongle. You don't need monster amplification to get the best out of these. What you do get in the box, as well as the Iems and the tips, is this comically solid metal carrying box to store the Timeless in. Now, it looks impressive, but you certainly aren't going to want to carry it around day to day, as it's a proper chunkster. So look, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, but I think the Sundara is the best £300 you can spend if you're looking to make the leap into true hi-fi. I would now add to this by stating that the 7Hz Timeless is the best £200 you can spend, and it truly is unbelievable that you get so much bang for your buck here. So yes, believe the hype. It's justified in my opinion, and yeah, do listen to Crinacle. I think we can agree that we can trust him. He knows his onions. Crinacle, if you're watching, good one, mate. The rest of you, go check out his channel in the unlikely event that you've not subscribed already. Go and subscribe to him. He's much better than me, but do consider subscribing to me as well. Of course, there's a link below. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, while I was making this video, Crinacle announced that he is just about to release a collaboration with 7Hz for a cheaper planar magnetic set of Iems. The name slips me, you can go and look it up, but this one's priced rather unbelievably at $99, so I'm really curious to test those. Crinacle, if you can ask Linsel to send me a pair to review, that would be brilliant if you haven't already got fed up with me using your name in vain. Thank you very much. The rest of you, cheers for watching. Here's to 100,000 subscribers. Is it going to happen? Who knows, but I'm enjoying the ride and I hope you are too. Take care everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.